Welcome to Baldurs Gate 3 and newest patch 8. It's best time to replay the game and start new playthrough. Hail and Meshes Kings and Queens, it's me, Baldur King, and today we finally can experience one of the newest subclasses in Baldurs Gate 3 patch 8. It of course will be Warlock Hexblade. Yeah, one of my favorite D&D Warlocks, and finally we can play it as it is, without creating weird multiclasses with Great Old One or the Fiend. So we will start with the Hexblade today. We will focus on melee build, so if you want best race for your character, then half orc will be the choice, with the ability to survive when he's downed and more powerful critical strikes. But any race will work. I like to play as half elf, especially wood half elf for extra movement speed. So let's make you look like a warlock, something like this. It will work. Okay, when we're creating warlock, we get two cantrips, and it's complete no-brainer to pick Eldritch Blast. That's our range cost attack with the force damage, which is least resisted damage type in the game. But also as Warlock we get access to some new skills, like Booming Blade for example, or Toll the Dead, which is a really powerful necrotic damaging cantrip. We will use Booming Blade for this build though, since we are Hexblade, we want to use blade skills of course, but also because it's pretty powerful. Most importantly, we get this subclass feature, Hex Warrior, and we will be able to bind our weapon instantly and use Charisma instead of Strength or Dexterity when attacking. Also as Hexblade Warlock, you will start with medium armor proficiency, that's really important, so you don't need any other proficiencies, you're good to go. And as Warlock you can learn two spells from the beginning. Normally Hexblade comes with Shield and Restful Smite, so you can deal some psychic damage, extra psychic damage, or you can cast Shield as a reaction to up your armor class by 5 and resist damage. But still, as some melee fighter, I would like to build my Warlock with Hex, that's really powerful damage amplification, and Armor of Agathis. Warlock is really limited on spell slots, we can use 2 spells per combat per short rest, so we need to take advantage and use only the best spells we can afford ourselves basically. For background, it doesn't matter too much, just try to find some skills with charisma proficiency. Stuff like intimidation and deception will work, as well as persuasion, so guild artisan, noble will be great starting backgrounds for warlock. And we're finishing with our ability points. It's pretty easy and straightforward. You don't need any strength technically, since we will be using charisma as our damage source, as our way to roll our attack rolls for weapons thanks to bind weapon. And we will start with simple distribution. 16 Dexterity, it's so high just to have nice armor class and medium armor. Constitution will be 14 to have more health and survive more attacks. Intelligence, who need intelligence, come on. 12 Wisdom to have protection from psychic and control magic, and 16 Charisma, that we will upgrade later on. As Warlock you will start just with a dagger, but that's definitely not the best weapon you may find. So right after first combat make sure to get these juicy scimitars and steal them from these imps. Even at level 1 this Warlock is insanely powerful. So what we can do, we get action and bonus action economy even from the start. That's actually what you want to achieve as any class. You want to make sure every turn you can use your action and bonus action. As bonus action you will use your Hex, and it will require you level 1 Warlock spell slot. Basically it will require you 1 spell slot no matter what, and when you're starting out you get only 1 spell slot. There will be a bunch of choices, just don't stress out, it doesn't matter actually. Strength or dexterity will work, and you don't even need to be precise, it will always be 100% to hex your target. Now he is hexed, and while we have basic main hand attack, we got Booming Blade. It's action and it's completely free, just go and use it. So we're doing attack, and as you can see there is extra damage from necrotic damage, that's because target got affected by hex. So here's the cool part, on the next turn you actually can reapply hex. It will cost you only bonus action. So when you get 2 spell slots, make sure you're always reapplying hex and not reapplying hex basically by casting another hex, because new hex will cost you spell slot, reapplying hex costs nothing basically. You just reapply it and you focus down next target. You will go with melee weapon with this Warlock, but you can also use Eldritch Blast because it uses your charisma for attack rolls, so you basically got your long range sniper rifle always equipped with extra necrotic damage on top from hex of course. If target is beefy and not this low lifer as these imps, you can always use Hexblade Curse. That's also great stuff. It recharges on the short rest and it will make affected target to be critical hit by you when you roll not only 20 but also 19. And even more, the target will take extra damage equal to our proficiency bonus. And that's the big one. That's insanely big stuff. Since on the turn number 1 you applying the hex, target is hexed. On second turn, if target is beefy, you just do this stuff and now he is Hexblade cursed also. And take a look at the damage. That's level 1. You may notice that Booming Blade not giving you any extra damage because target will take damage when they move. So as I told you, don't run in this mattress on yourself. Get some steel, get some big weapons, and even if you are not proficient with them, just bind it as your hex weapon. And that's it. Here's the fun part. You actually can apply Hexblade Curse even without casting Hexblade Curse as your bonus action. So if you're lucky, target will receive condition Hexblade Curse on hit. The roll required to get this curse on hit is 17 as far as I know, and there is no modifiers, so basically it's 20%. But as far as I know, there is a little bit of spaghetti coding going on, so let's get out of the Nautiloid and create the most broken warlock ever. Take a look over here. What is the chance that I will apply Hexblade to this bro with the next hit to this? We're definitely applying this on hit to this bro, 100% chance. So how does it work and how to be sure you're always applying Hexblade curse on hit? Basically, as you can see, it works perfectly. It's not intended, it's bug, so make sure to use it only if you wish to, but if you like a little bit of exploits and a little bit of power, it's not like completely broken but pretty powerful to be able to always apply Hexblade on hit. Basically, you need to bind this weapon multiple times. Every time you bind the weapon, it will add one more roll to find out if you're lucky to apply Hexblade on hit or not. And basically after casting around like 10 times, it will be around like 80-90%. After casting 20 times, you will always hex on hit. That's it. You're basically rolling like 20 dices every time you try to hex him. That's insanely broken, that's insanely fun, but of course it's more fun to level up and build strong characters to not rely on exploits. So let's do it. Warlock level 2. We get access to 2 more new spells. Since our main spell is Hex and its concentration spell, you need to make sure you're not using other concentration spells. That's why basically Wrathful Smite, Witch Bolt, Protection Evil Good, Retreat, Charm Person, basically nothing works. Works only Arms of Hedger in case you are surrounded and you need to cast it around you to deal some necrotic damage to multiple enemies at once. But what I like to use is Hellish Rebuke. It's insanely cool, powerful fire damage spell that will be used as a reaction. Someone hits you, you basically hit them with your Hellish Finger. That's it. But most importantly, at level 2 we can pick Eldritch Invocations. And the basic strategy for Warlocks is to go for Agonizing Blast that will add Charisma modifier to rolls of your Eldritch Blast. It will make your Eldritch Blast a lot more powerful. And Repelling Blast to push enemies away. But we're not caster. We don't want to push enemies away. We want them as close as possible to our sword, of course. So what we are doing here is we're getting Devil's Sight. It will give us ability to see in the magical darkness. And what we will get on level 3? New spells. And of course the spell will be Magical Darkness. Yeah, that's it. That's the spell. Also we can replace some spells, so in case you're not using Arms of Hedger, and that's something I'm not using actually, at least a lot, I like to reposition myself into best positions in the fight. That's why Misty Step is what we want to use. Also don't forget there's some new spells like Shadow Blade, for example. Shadow Blade is a short sword with 2d8 psychic damage. It's insanely powerful and you can get it right from level 3. If you don't have any like good gear, other party members using big swords and cool stuff right now, you can just use Shadow Blade and that's it. But we're not using it for this Hexblade Warlock, at least for now. We need to pick the Pact right now. So picking the Pact is really easy. It will be Pact of the Blade that will give us ability to bind Hex weapon. That's how we made Hex Warlocks, kinda Hex Warlocks before, but they was not real Hexblade Warlocks. Most importantly, we're picking this to get extra attack at level 5. For spells at level 4, you want to pick Mirror Image. And for cantrips, go with anything you like. You can go with something like Bone Chill. Sometimes you need it in the fights when enemies can regenerate their health, because Bone Chill will prevent enemies from healing until your next turn. If your party don't have this healing blockage, basically, you will need it sometimes against some enemies, so make sure to check this out. And we're getting our of hits. So it won't be simple and straightforward like +2 to charisma. No. We're going for Sentinel. Sentinel is insane. When enemy within melee range attacks an ally, you can use reaction to make weapon attack against that enemy. Target ally must not have Sentinel feet, so that's something to note. You can't use Sentinels on all your party. Most importantly, you will gain advantage on these attacks, and when you hit creatures with opportunity attacks, they no longer can move. So that's kinda the secret to our build when it's basically finished. Also, since we're using a reaction for Sentinel, I would recommend to remove Hellish Book from your pool if you're not using it, and just change to any spell you like, maybe that you will use. And this time it doesn't matter too much. You can go with Repelling Blast just to make your basically Eldritch Blast a little bit more powerful to push enemies sometime from cliffs. Or you can pick anything you like. Maybe you like to play with one of the shadows, so that's up to you. And for our spell at level 3, we're going with Hunger of Hader. It's actually a concentration spell, but it will have some use. At this point of the game, you will have 2 spell slots, and you actually want to start today with Armor of Agathos, and then in the first fight you will cast Hex on one of the targets. This will leave you without spell slots, and then you will short rest after the fight, so in the next fight you will have 2 spell slots. If you're going for a big fight, of course, short rest just before it. So combat strategy, it's extremely simple, or maybe not, but our basic idea is to come close to targets, as close as possible, and then basically unleash on them with our awesome spells. We want to cast Darkness, yeah, that's what we want to cast. It will block your reapply Hex, so it's also concentration spell. You can't use Hex from this point. But basically what's going on when you are in the darkness, you will have advantage on attack rolls against enemies. You will have mostly like 100% chance to hit most of them. And advantage means you roll 2 dices. 2 dices means you will have more chances to hit critical hit with Hexblade Curse. It raises your chances to critical hit like substantially, exponentially. And insanely insane. This guy right now is affected by Booming Blade, by Hexblade Curse. And what's going on in the darkness? Actually, most of the enemies can't see in the darkness, so after turn ends, they will try to run away most of the time. He didn't, he actually decided to hit us. And thanks to Armor of Agathos, we don't even need to react, he already fried himself. Enemies will try to run away because they can't do anything basically. And it's on Tactician difficulty. On Honor mode, they will shoot in the shadows, but they will have disadvantage. That's why we're going in medium armor, and later we will get also a shield with high armor class, so it will be almost impossible to hit us. And honestly, you can just skip the turns. That's how broken this character can be. Enemies will try to push you, but they won't try to run away most of the time because they kinda smart a little bit. What does it mean? This means if they try to run from you when you're not down, actually, if they try to run away from the darkness, you will use your reaction and you will snare them, and they will stay in the darkness forever, so they are stuck over here with you. That's like the most beautiful part of this build. And done! So we will use darkness as zoning tool, and basically we will bully our enemies so they stand still and do nothing. That's what we're going to do. And we get 2 attacks, so always start with Booming Blade and then continue with your normal main hand attack. This technically creates a nice loop where you can isolate some enemies, and whenever they try to run away from you, you basically will make them stuck in place. If they try to run away when Booming Blade effect on them, they will also take extra damage from Booming Blade, as well as from your hit from Sentinel, with a lot of crit chance from Hexblade Curse, while at the same time you can go straight into 5 enemies at the same time, cast Darkness and basically destroy them while they can't see you. Or you can isolate strong enemies and use Hunger of Hader to zone other guys. For example, you can find a nice place where you're placing Hunger of Hader so enemies can't pass through this area without running away. This will become even more powerful if you cast something like Hunger of Hader, come close, so they need to pass through you to escape, for example, and this will provoke opportunity attack and also may make them stuck in this darkness also. That's insanely powerful way to play your Warlock, and this Warlock is actually completely broken from level 5. Even earlier when you're using darkness, of course, but that's like the crazy part. So she tried to move and she's done. That's how Booming Blade works actually. And again, it's also darkness, so enemies can't see anything inside. It also blocks vision, they can shoot through this darkness. But of course you can't run in this gear forever. So it's time to find what gear we're actually going for to make this build even more broken. So the gear we're going for is Knife of Undermountain King. You get it in Act 2 or Act 1.5 in Gitianki Crochet, you just buy it. And this will lower the damage number you need to roll critical strike by 1. At the same time, you want to find the best medium armor you will find. The best one in the game will be Armor of Agility. It will give you 17 armor class and it will use full dexterity for armor class bonus. So it will use 16 dexterity and we will get 20 armor class without any other additional equipment. But that's the best one. In Act 2 you can get 15 armor class armor and our armor class from Act 2 will be around 18. But it will be 20 with Adamantine Shield. So Adamantine Shield is really important because it will protect us from critical hits. We need to keep concentration all the time, so we need to be protected from critical hits all the time, or they will break our concentration pretty easily. And basic build is to basically find stuff that will lower our critical hit number. We got so many advantages, we got such a low number to roll critical hits, so the Dark Justiciar helmet is what we are looking for. And this Warlock build is actually insane to kinda roleplay as Dark Justiciar. Don't forget to bind your weapon always, and you are truly fearsome warrior. So how to level next? For this build we will go truly mono class. We will go fully Hexblade Warlock. It works nicely, it works great. If you want to make a lot more powerful version, you can actually go and switch into multi-class version like Warlock Paladin or even Warlock Fighter, even Warlock Champion Fighter to lower your critical hit chance even more. I mean lower the number you need to roll for critical hit chance, so you can crit a lot more often. But we will go with full Warlock, Hexblade Warlock. That's what we will get at level 6. Basically one more spell, it doesn't matter too much. Most importantly, we will get a new subclass feature and it's very cool. Accursed Spectre. When you or your ally with an 18 meters slay a creature that is affected by Hexblade curse, you can raise Spectre that will fight alongside you. At level 7 there's level 4 spells and you can pick any spell you like. Again, most of the cool Warlock spells will be concentration spells. That's why I suggest just ignoring them and picking kinda anything. Blight will work just for some necrotic damage. We will concentrate on our spells mostly, and technically this build is pretty loose in case, like in terms of spells. You can pick any spells when you're leveling up and have some fun. So level 7 will also give us ability to get more Eldritch Invocations, and there's not so many choices, so you can get something fun like Beast Speech. You can cast it at will without expending spell slots, so basically some fun stuff. You don't need potions and lotions, you can just go and speak with some animals. At level 8 we get one more feat, and since we're using basic like small knife, technically a blade, we will go for ability improvement Charisma, just to raise our charisma, raising our chance to hit, raising our damage numbers. That's what we want to have. From level 5 spell list, I suggest getting Hold Monster, and one of the spells you can get early on is Hold Person. If you're fighting with this one person, it's nice to be able to disable this person and completely freely destroy them. And one more Eldritch Invocation at level 9. Again, it doesn't matter too much, you can go for something like Quality of Life and Hand Sleep without expending spell slot, or if you need more power in battle, go for Minions of Chaos. It will give you Conjure Elemental spell. And by going monoclass Warlock, Hexblade Warlock, you will get Armor of Hexes at level 10. When a creature cursed with a Hexblade curse attacks you, potentially nullifies the attack as a reaction, and this has 50% chance of succeeding. So it will give you ability to basically survive loads of attacks. 50% chance is really nice against late game powerful enemies. Sometimes it's more important than to attack with your Sentinel feat. And of course, coolest part, at level 11, by going this road, basically you will unlock level 3, third spell slot for Warlock. Now you get 3 spell slots instead of 2, and that's a big one. Also at level 11 you will get Mystic Arcanum. There's a bunch of choices over here. Circle of Dash is nice necrotic damage spell with high damage. Arcane Gate is nice utility spell, but it requires concentration, and again, you don't want to use concentration spells a lot. Mostly you will use Darkness and Hunger of Hader. That's why stuff like I Bite flesh to stone is kinda useless for us, but create undead is something we can use actually for extra minion in our party. Most importantly, at level 12 you will unlock full potential of our Warlock. It will be Life Drinker Eldritch Invocation. It plays a future and basically will deal extra necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier with Life Drinker. That's why last ability improvement will be charisma +2, and that's why all you want to do is find good charisma bonuses on your gear. It will be cat from Act 3 of course. How your day will look like as this type of Warlock. You will start with Armor of Agathos on yourself. As level 5 spell slot it will give you 25 temporary hit points and you will retaliate with 25 damage on each hit that hits you, but most of hits won't hit you actually. Stuff to think about is Shadow Blade, because right now it can be upcasted up to level 5. So yeah, while technically a Knife of the Undermountain King is nice, +2 weapon, you know, nice chance to hit, damage is just 1d6 plus your charisma, just, while Shadow Blade will go for d8. So Shadow Blade is something that to go for in the end game. You will receive this item and of course you can hex this weapon also. It will be truly psychic Hexblade Warlock from this point. The last spell slot will go for Conjure Elemental and you can get any you like. My favorite is Air Elemental and Water one is cool, but you can go for any elemental you like. It will be in your party. And also create undead if you got some corpses nearby. It's easy to find corpses with this powerful character actually. Just short rest and your spell slots are back. You're ready to fight with full power. Here's the thing though. Normally Shadow Blade will deal 48 damage at this level, so that's really a big smart. But if you try to bind it, that's what you want to watch for. If you bind it like 10 times by using this spaghetti coding, it will go and roll back up to 2d8 again. So make sure to bind it only once and this will work. Now let's go and destroy these goblins. If he is affected by Hexblade curse, you get this reaction, Accursed Spectre, don't forget. And there's actually 3 of them. So from mini goblins we will get the Spectre. He's look like flying worm, something from Harry Potter. And he acts on himself, he will attack enemies, he got necrotic damage, and this exact Spectre got 1d6 necrotic damage, and also he is limited, he is up only for 10 turns. But if you find and finish down normal sized enemies, it will create different Spectre. It will be Mundane Spectre, he will be a lot more powerful, he will have also 1d6 normal damage, but also Devour Soul, which is 2d6 necrotic damage. And from big guys you can also create Spectre. It will be a Primordial Spectre. This one is most powerful, he got a Ripped Soul, insane damage, slashing attack. Devour Soul basically is the best Spectre you can make. And just like that you're becoming one-man army. Someone tries to attack your Spectre, you can just Sentinel on them and Spectre will finish them off. That's how easy you can destroy them. And oh my goodness, this Hexblade Warlock is so insane. I hope you enjoyed this video and you will have blast playing this build for yourself. But if you want even more completely broken build for Hexblade, for Shadow Blade, watch this video on the screen right now. There is a ways how you can multiply the damage even more. See you in the next videos.